Welcome to our channel. On today's video, we're going to talk about the top 5 reasons why Alabama is the worst state in the country. Statistically, it is undisputable that Alabama has the worst stats of any other state. Only Mississippi and Louisiana can try to compete for that title with Alabama. All the other states are far superior in all categories of livability. So if you live in Alabama, there's no disputing this. This is an analytical, statistical, that is undisputable. I knew that when I moved to Alabama. I went there for affordability. However, turns out that when a place is affordable, there's usually an underlying reason, the worst state to live in. Number 1 is the state's gun laws. Just like other adjacent states like Georgia and Tennessee, these laws contribute to high crime and to an easy method for criminals to victimize people. Open carry means that a criminal has the ability to point a gun at you and check to see if you have a gun on you. If you point your gun back at them, they know that you're not an easy target. However, if you don't have a gun on you, at that moment, the criminal knows they can victimize you because you are unarmed. This is a serious concern, and it makes it to where you literally have to carry your gun on you at all times when you're in Alabama because you do not know when somebody's going to check you to see if you have it on you or not. These laws protect the criminal's ability to victimize you more than they do your own ability to defend yourself. For example, the state of Florida has a concealed carry permit. Unless you are in a life or death situation, you cannot display that weapon to anyone. If you do, you're subject to a 1020 life law if you display your weapon when you're not supposed to. That means that in Florida, you're not going to pull out a gun, display a gun, intimidate people with a gun. It is reserved only for the sole purpose of protection in a life or death situation. However, the gun laws of Alabama mean that you can display, intimidate, point, and even shoot towards another person. And unless someone is injured or killed, there is no legal reason for the police to do an investigation. Everybody's paranoid, everybody has it on them, and everybody is afraid to do anything as simple as going to the gas station, especially after dark. These laws contribute to a sense of insecurity. They are ineffective, and it gives you a Wild West type of feel. Gun laws in Tennessee are also ineffective and have quite literally turned the neighborhoods into war zones where people are able to access, possess, display, and use weapons with complete immunity. Reason number 2, Alabama State Law HB 56. This is an anti-immigrant law that is unconstitutional. The law directly states that if someone suspects that you are an illegal immigrant, I need to see your papers to make sure you're not an illegal, and they're actually allowed to profile you racially, demographically to do that. Quite literally, it is unconstitutional because if you are a U.S. citizen, nobody, government or civilian, has the right to question you on your legal status. I had this law applied to me twice as a Hispanic living in Alabama, and it was the most degrading and unacceptable situation that I have ever been in my entire life. You feel downgraded, you feel dirty, you feel disrespected. Clearly, the intention of this law is not to protect Alabama from illegal immigrants. The intention of this law is to remind you that you're not from there. Imagine now that you make a police report. You walk into the police station and you say, "Mr. Police Officer, I have been a victim of a crime." And the police officer says, "You're not really from here, are you?" Given these rights, in the state of Alabama, you don't have those rights. Regardless, after you present your documents, whatever service you're trying to obtain, they're going to make it impossible or as difficult as they can for you to make that transaction happen to let you know that you're less than them. This is how law enforcement in business in Alabama operates. At the end of the day, Latinos and Asians are the powerhouse of American industry, and that is proven true in every single state other than Alabama. And the reason why Alabama has the worst stats for all these things, despite having some of the largest investments from the auto industry and many other industries, is because they're depriving themselves of these assets, of these brilliant engineers, of these hardworking people. The only thing more terrifying than being a minority in Alabama is being alive during a tornado warning. The tornado alley is now deeper into the south, and Alabama is the heart of it. Even though I only lived in Alabama for a year, in that time period, the town that I lived in was hit by a tornado. It is the most terrifying experience of your life. Big giant trees in all directions. When the winds blow and you hear the hail hitting your house and you hear the tree branches breaking, you can hear the wind from the tornado in the distance. It is absolutely terrifying. These are not isolated or rare events. The storm fronts come through and they have tornadoes in them. Where your town get hit by one or not depends on mere luck. I can say for a fact that living in this tornado area is one of the most terrifying things you can go through in your life. It's traumatizing and the damages are scary and it ruins people's lives completely. Number 4. Alabama is a welfare state. On the street that I lived on, about 80% of the people had a disability of some sort, so they could receive food stamps and some type of SSI. But all these people where I lived were disabled for some reason or another. Of course, on the first of the month, you couldn't tell they were disabled. Everybody just sits around and waits for food stamps, waits for unemployment, waits for disability, waits for a stimulus check. Nobody really wants to be a go-getter and get out there and hustle. The entire state has been rigged up so that the people here can kind of live off the system. It's affordable. You don't need permits. There's no regulations. It's a really easy place to live. I cannot emphasize enough how easy it is to live in Alabama. They have this entire state rigged up for themselves. Number 5 is the obvious, racism. If you're not racist, you're going to get taxed for it. How this works now, I didn't understand racism. I thought I understood racism in Florida, and then I moved to Alabama and I learned what racism really was. Now, I did all the things you were supposed to do in Montgomery. I went to Selma, I walked the bridge. I learned as much as I could about the history of the state. Unfortunately, what's in people's hearts in Alabama, nothing can change that. I would describe living in Alabama as taking a college course on racism. Most people in Alabama stick to the white race or the black race, and if you start to cross the line and make business transactions or associations with people of a different race, people are keeping tabs on you for that, and they're going to charge you for that. And eventually, you're going to realize you're being taxed for not being racist. Oh, I don't believe in racism. Okay, you don't believe in racism? Well, look, a black person just came and broke into your house. Are you racist now? Oh, a black person just came and did this to you. Are you racist now? You walk into a restaurant full of black people and they all walk out. Are you racist now? It's a situation where you think you're going to show people that, oh, I'm better than you. You're not going to show them that, because if you try to show them that, they're going to make you prove it. And I'm glad I left Alabama because I was changing who I was. You know, I was so stupid and I was so innocent when it came to racism. And yeah, you think I'm from a place that's more progressive, okay? So there's no way that these people are going to turn me into a racist. This is a fermented, deep age type of hate that's been perfected over the decades to the point where if you think that you're going to move to Alabama and you're not going to follow segregation laws, they're going to put you in situations where you're going to have to prove your alliance to that belief, and the odds are stacked against you every single time, and you get to the point where you're like, okay, am I going to continue being victimized? Am I going to continue being robbed? If you stay in that environment for a prolonged period of time, you're going to become just like them. And I want to mention that we had a lot of love and support in Alabama, and a lot of people in Alabama knew what I went through. Unfortunately, they had to be quiet. They weren't able to show me verbally their support, but I know that they are proud of what I did, how I stood up for myself, and how I didn't let people try to change me. So if you're from Alabama and you have children growing up and you're watching these things going on and you don't want your children to grow up in that lifestyle, consider taking them somewhere else, because you don't want your kids to learn the things that I learned in 1 year in Alabama.